the Sodder children nobody can account for. In the early hours of December 25, 1945, 5 children of George and Jennie Sodder vanish from a burning house in Fayetteville, West Virginia, and investigators still cannot account for the detail that should have closed the case in a day. Not one human bone found in the ashes. The house burns to its foundation in under 45 minutes. 9 children are inside when the fire starts. 4 escape. 5 do not. No bodies are ever recovered. George Sodder is a coal town businessman, an Italian immigrant who left his home country as a teenager and built a trucking company in the hills of West Virginia. Jennie raises their children in a 2-story wood frame house on Route 16. That night, most of the family stays up late after a Christmas gathering. Around 1 a.m., Jennie hears a thump on the roof. She smells smoke. By the time she gets 4 children out through a downstairs door, the staircase to the second floor is already gone. The first anomaly surfaces within minutes. George tries to call the fire department. The line is dead. He drives into town to raise the alarm by hand. He returns, hunts for the ladder he always keeps against the house to reach the upstairs windows. It's gone, later found 75 feet down an embankment, nowhere near where it belonged. 2 of his trucks, parked beside the house, won't start, despite running fine the day before. The Fayetteville Fire Department, less than 3 miles away, doesn't arrive until 8 a.m. 7 hours after the fire is reported out. The official theory arrives fast and tidy: faulty Christmas tree wiring, an old fuse box, a tragic accident. Case closed within days. The state fire marshal signs off. 5 death certificates are issued without 5 bodies. But the wiring story breaks almost immediately. An electrician who'd inspected the house's fuse box weeks earlier found nothing wrong. And months before the fire, George had been approached twice. Once by a stranger who told him his fuse box would catch fire, and once by a life insurance salesman who warned that his house would go up in smoke, and his children would be destroyed over George's public statements against Benito Mussolini, statements he'd made openly to other Italian immigrants in town who still had family in Italy. George had also received threatening letters. A man was later seen at the property stealing fuses and cutting the outdoor phone line the same week, with a company truck, cutting tools in daylight, watched by a witness who did nothing. Then comes the detail that unravels everything. Fire Chief F.J. Morris tells the Sodders he personally found human remains in the ashes. A small mass, he says, are organs, and he buries them without turning the site over to a proper investigation. But a pathologist the Sodders later consult tells them something the fire department never accounted for. A fire hot enough to cremate 5 human bodies to the point of leaving 0 bone fragments would have needed to burn for hours at temperatures the modest house fire never reached. Bones survive house fires. Always. Sifted ash from the foundation, tested independently, shows no trace of human remains at all. And the sightings begin almost immediately. A woman running a tourist court on Route 16 says she served the 5 missing children breakfast the morning after the fire, in a car with Florida plates, hours after they'd supposedly burned. A Charleston hotel clerk says she recognized the children's photographs, checked in the same night under names the family didn't use. In 1968, an envelope arrives at the Sodder home with no return address, a photograph of a man in his mid-20s who looks unmistakably like their son Louis would have looked, with a taunting message on the back. Kidnapping over George's anti-Mussolini remarks. A Sicilian retaliation. Investigators float, but no ransom ever comes, no demand, no group ever claims it. Simple accidental fire, but there's no bone evidence, and a blaze fast enough to level a house in 45 minutes shouldn't be hot enough to erase 5 human skeletons completely. Arson to cover a kidnapping, plausible, except nothing explains the cut phone line and dead trucks unless someone prepared the house in advance, and nobody has ever identified who. George and Jennie mount a billboard along Route 16 with the children's photos and a standing reward, and it stays there for decades, repainted every few years until both parents die without an answer. The FBI reviewed the file and closed it without resolution. No remains, no confession, no explanation that survives its own evidence. If the fire took them, where are the bones? If it didn't, where for 81 years have 5 children gone?